Welcome, welcome. This is episode 1 of the Altitude Problems podcast. I'm your host, Big Country. Let me throw it on over to my co-host, PV. Let's introduce yourself, PV. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm PV, guys. How you all doing? How you doing tonight, Big Country?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's a good time to be in Denver right now. A lot of sports are heating up, and this is our first episode, and I'm really excited to get this going and talk to the world about the Denver sports, even though we're not going to have much of an audience on the first episode, but I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but let's get straight into things. Nuggets, man. What was your takeaway from Game 5?
Takeaway from Game 5 is obviously we did better than previous games. I mean, if you look at the previous games, it was rough to even watch for us Nuggets fans. A lot of struggles down low, both on offense and on defense. I mean, you could see them still attacking us in the paint. And so I'm not saying that we're where we need to be yet, because we absolutely aren't. We still gave up a big lead. But I think I definitely see some improvement, and I hope we can keep it going. What did you see?
I mean, I saw something, I think that Adelman kind of addressed this in the post game. I mean, the offense was a lot better. Yeah. Does he need to be so snarky at reporters? No. But the offense was a lot better than it was in games 3 and 4. I mean, you couldn't tell me that was the same team on the court past night versus previous 2 games. I think the Nuggets, I think they could come back. I mean, it's a real possibility with the injuries that the Timberwolves have had, but I mean, it's definitely going to be a challenge going into their place. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rocking. I mean, do you see the 3-1 comeback viable or no?
I think it's definitely viable. And you mentioned injuries. I think there's obviously a good side and a bad side to that. Obviously, we don't have the threat of Anthony Edwards or Dante DiVincenzo on the court anymore. But now, even if we do come back from this 3-1 deficit, all you're ever going to hear is, "Oh, the Nuggets only came back from this because of injuries. The Nuggets were saved by injuries." And so I think it sucks as much as it works out for us, which I'm obviously never rooting for injuries, never something that you want to see. But I think even given the fact that they were both injured in Game 4, we should have been able to pull away with that victory going into Quarter 4. But even going into Quarter 4 without the 2 stars, we still blew the game and ended up losing that game by quite a bit. And so obviously there's still a lot that team can do without their 2 stars, and I think that they've shown that on both sides of the ball we're weak down low, whether it's on offense or on defense. And I think a lot of that just comes from the effort that these Nuggets players have been putting out recently. It just feels like they aren't really trying as hard as they did in their championship run. You used to see them flying around the court making plays, and now it just feels like they're either trying to always get fouls and then complaining to the refs about it afterwards, or they're just sitting around waiting on defense, which you saw a lot of that in games 3 and 4.
Definitely. I mean, that's honestly what you're taking away, like the effort I saw from Jamal Murray all game. He was diving for loose balls. He was, getting under the paint, getting low, bodying it up, and he was wanting the contact, which is just awesome to see. I mean, Jokic, he's our only, like, I guess you could call it brute force from a scoring perspective with Aaron Gordon out. And it was great to see him kind of find a rhythm, because, I mean, Rudy has been on him all series long. To see that just a little bit of success is probably very promising for him. And I'm hoping, I mean, let's be honest, if they win Game 6, they're probably not losing Game 7. At home, you're not going to do it. I mean, the series is decided, obviously, on Thursday night, and as we're recording us on Tuesday, I have high hopes, but the only way we could shut up haters if we do beat them in 7 is we got to go into the Spurs house and beat them. If we beat them, totally. Can't. Yeah.
And one of the biggest things too that we haven't mentioned yet that was a big reason why we won this past game is our role players. Like you mentioned, we don't have Aaron Gordon, And I think obviously in this series, one of the biggest losses that we've seen is the fact that we don't have Peyton Watson. Peyton
Hmm.
Watson is a huge presence down low when it comes to offense, but mostly obviously defense. His
Hmm.
defense down low is just unbelievable, and that was the type of physical threat that we needed down low to face to face the physical Timberwolves that we did in this series. And so it really helped recently to have players like surprisingly Zeke Naji and Spencer Jones were two big names in the last couple games.
Oh
Zeke
yeah,
Naji had a huge game in Game 4, almost kept us in that game, and then obviously Game 5, Spencer Jones came in, had the start, dropped
dropped
20
20.
points on
Hmm.
some phenomenal shooting, on 7 of 9 shooting, I believe it was, and he played great physical, great hustle, was all over the floor all game, and that's the type of energy and effort that we needed to bring into the game.
Not to mention we had Cam Johnson kind of fulfilling that role that he needs to fulfill, especially without Aaron Gordon. He needs to be the third scorer. We
Absolutely, yeah.
can't.
Yeah, I
Do,
mean, we brought in Cam Johnson to replace MPJ as one of those
hmm.
playmakers, and obviously the regular season he didn't really show up as much as we were hoping. But I think this last game was a huge, huge step up as to what we've seen all year, and if he can continue that productivity, I'd be very happy with where he's at.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with him, he just needs to shoot it often and early. The shots are going to fall. He's a great player. I mean, he when he attacked the rim last night, it's also another area of his game that I don't feel like he fully exploits in in our offense. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, he is our third best scorer, and we need to treat him like that as well. But sometimes I feel like it's confidence with him too. So I mean, the real question is at the end of this. I mean, say the Nuggets do lose tomorrow night, Thursday night. Do you blow it up? What do you do? Because like this is back to back seasons where you come up short. Do you fire Adelman? Do you keep Adelman? You see the still same voice in the clubhouse that you really want? That's a big question the Nuggets got to answer, and honestly, probably way above my pay grade. But if you're me, I don't like Adelman as much. I think he doesn't know how to call timeouts, but that's also from a fan's perspective that never played basketball. So, yeah.
I don't necessarily have a problem with the game management that Adelman has. I think my main issue is what energy does he bring really to
Mm-hmm.
the locker room, under Mike Malone, yeah, obviously there were plenty of issues, but there was always that energy and that confidence that he instilled into our team. And I think that was a big part of our championship run that a lot of people kind of underrate and don't really think about. And so I don't really mind Adelman as much, but if you're going down in a series the way that we have this last couple games, and then you have the showings like we had in games 3 and 4, and you don't light a fire under your team enough to
Mm-hmm.
continue going after they lose their two star players, then I do think that is a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the things I saw from Adelman is just like he played the role guys a lot in game 5, gave those stars a chance to rest and recover, so they could come back fresh and play well. And in turn, these bench and role guys, they saw the opportunity and they seized it, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah,
Now, if
absolutely.
they just learn how to close out a little bit better, the starters mainly. I mean, the bench was doing great, had a 20-point lead, and then as soon as the starters come in, they give up like a 9-0 run. So, I mean,
Right.
hopefully,
Yeah.
I don't want them to blow it up. I like the players that we have, um, but it's going to beg the question if they do lose. So, yeah. Any more thoughts on the Nuggets or no?
I mean, go Nuggets. Hopefully, we see
Go
some good
Nuggets,
results
yeah.
in Game 7 or
Yeah,
Game
I
Six.
mean,
Sorry.
game 6, yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves there. I mean, yes, just please win.
Yeah.
I mean, we have two chances of getting a parade in Denver. One is a lot more likely than the other right now. It's going to be even more likely. I mean, but yeah, let's switch up who's here. Talk some baseball. How you feeling with the Rockies? These first month of the season.
I mean, it took us until mid June to get 10 wins last year, so being at 13 wins this year is obviously, it's really satisfying to see. I mean, even being close to a 500 record, being 30 games in, obviously dropping the one today was a shame, but,
Yeah,
we just got a sweep against the Mets, which the Mets are the Mets, but it feels good to beat a team that spends all this money on their players, and, we're the Rockies, so it's
yeah.
been a good start to the year.
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from our Rockies. I mean, like you said, getting the same amount of wins as we did last year in 2 months. We're getting it in just under a month is insane.
Yeah.
I'm loving what I'm seeing. Truthfully, I mean, the pitching has been the difference for the Rockies. I wouldn't say it's like the offense mainly. I mean, the offense has been somewhat better, but the pitching has been so much better. I mean, I think we're ranking just about 15th or 16th in overall pitching. When have we ever heard about that over for a Rockies team? Ever? I mean, Chase Dollander is
Chasing
looking
the dream.
like he's looking like a little Paul Skeens esque, in my opinion. It's probably a little Rockies cloud over my head, but he has looked very dominant,
The
and I'm
numbers are
loving what I
looking
see
great.
him. Yeah, I mean, he has the highest WAR for a pitcher in baseball right now, and he's a Rocky. That's amazing news. And that honestly comes from our new pitching coach. I mean, I've heard they're calling pitchers from the dugout as a suggestion. I don't know if they're taking him, obviously, but they're really expanding these arsenals that the Rockies pitchers have. I mean, look at Antonio Senzatella, highest hit fastball in all of the major leagues last year, and he's quite possibly one of the best relievers. One the Rockies have, but he might want to be the best, like top 10 relievers in the National League. So really excited for what I'm seeing out of Senza. Talk to me about Mickey Moniak.
Mickey Moniak is smacking that ball, man. He is just his average is high. He's over the 300s. He's getting a lot of power behind his swings. He's driving in a lot of runs. Couldn't be happier without him. I mean, and then you got his beautiful defense out there in the outfield. I mean, what more could you want from a player in Coors Field?
Yeah, the beautiful defense, letting pop flies drop, but that wasn't always the greatest thing. But it'll come. It was his first game back from the IL at the start of the season, obviously, and the rust was knocked off right there. And if it wasn't, the Bluebirds definitely knocked it off. So I mean, you couldn't have a worse start to the Rockies home game by giving up that many runs in the first inning. But the way this team has rebounded since then, I mean, rebounded since we got swept in our first series against the Marlins to be, sweeping the Astros. I don't care if they're not the greatest Astros I've ever seen. This team last year swept one team, and it was the Marlins, and they were never once 500, and they were never once had this like confidence and swagger that they have now. And I'm excited for what the Rockies are becoming as well. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, especially when you just reflect on the last few years that we've had, it just feels good to actually go into a game and think, hey, we might actually be able to win this one, at
yeah,
least 50% of the time.
yeah. Do you think the Penner family buying into the Rockies will be a great thing in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, more money in baseball is obviously always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Money in baseball is kind of the driving factor of a lot of the winning teams. And I think the Walter or the Penner family is they just love to win. So yeah, they're going to bring a big winning culture, and they're going to bring a big just want to drive a lot of wins into the team. And I mean, I think we've seen it already in the early year. So
Yeah, and I definitely like the fact that they're investing into Denver sports a little bit more. Obviously, they bought the Broncos. They turned around that franchise when it felt like just a quick couple of years. Getting Sean Payton, bringing in Bo Nix, everything like that. It's really revived the city. And I feel like in two aspects of their sports. I mean, the Nuggets and Avs have been great for years. Controlled by Kroenke and everything like that. But I mean, the city's kind of been missing like the baseball and the football to be good. I feel like the backbone of this city is baseball and football. When the Rockies are good, there's a certain buzz to Denver. When the Broncos are good, it's pretty nice in Denver. Traffic sucks, but that's about it.
yeah.
But speaking of Broncos, why don't we we'll transition a little bit into that? Talk about the NFL draft. Um, how'd you like your Broncos picks?
I think I'm happy about it, but I do think that there were certain areas that I was surprised weren't addressed sooner. Um, I think picking our first pick in the third round, I think that one made sense. Tyler Onyediam. Onyedime. I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
pronouncing his name correctly.
yeah.
Um, but I think it made a lot of sense given that we lost John Franklin Myers. It definitely sucks to lose that veteran presence, but I think we have a lot of veteran presence from over the last couple of years that is remaining anyways. And so I think that that's not necessarily the issue, but the run stopping that John Franklin Myers brought to the team obviously is something that was going to need to be replaced. So I think that was something that needed to be addressed. I do really like the Jonah Coleman pick. I'm sure that a lot of people are confused as to why we have so many running backs in our running back room. But I think that the biggest thing about Jonah Coleman is that he's a phenomenal blocker. And that's kind of what his blocking and his finishing in the end zone. And so I think that's a lot of things that obviously two big things that the Broncos were lacking last year. We had a lot of good runs that were physical and fast runs to the outside that I think were rather successful, but I think a lot of the stuff that we were lacking were those short, powerful runs up the middle, those first down runs to get you a couple of yards, like four yards to make second down more manageable, or even the end zone runs where you're just a couple yards out and you're just trying to stuff it down the middle. And I think that's something that he's going to bring to the team, as well as phenomenal blocking for a lot of pass catching situations. And then we move on to a couple of the other picks. We drafted an O lineman, obviously. An O lineman never hurts. It's always
Depth.
nice to have big, young depth back there, and obviously that's not something I'm going to complain about. But then one that was a little surprising to me was going and trading up for Justin Jolly at tight end. And I think it is a good pick for us, given that he's an extreme athlete and he's a great vertical threat. But I thought it was really interesting because I think what we're missing at tight end isn't necessarily a vertical threat, but it's kind of someone that's a really good, consistent blocker and a good
Hmm.
short yardage kind of a situation guy. I don't think that we have that in Evan Ingram necessarily, and so I thought it was a little strange for us to go out and find a vertical threat rather than a big blocking threat. Um, and then kind of the last one I want to talk about is going to be obviously Mr. Relevant, which I'm pretty excited about in Red Murdoch. The interesting thing about this pick is linebacker was a big position a lot of Broncos fans were looking to fill, especially in the draft, given that it was a really deep draft. And I think, given that it's a deep draft, I think that's why we waited so long. But there were certainly a lot of really good options that we passed on early, and so it was surprising to see us wait until the very, very end of the draft to pick up a linebacker. But we did pick up somebody that is really he's got a great engine. He's always going at the ball. He broke the NCAA record for forced fumbles, forcing 17. He had 39 and a half tackles for a loss over the last 3 seasons. So he's definitely got a great engine and definitely the type of linebacker that we're looking for. But obviously, it was definitely really interesting as a Broncos fan, I think, to see us go so late for a linebacker.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, I think the biggest thing that we're not like talking about with the Broncos because they had so few picks is your first round pick was Jalen Waddle. It's
Yeah.
the I mean, you just gotta look at it like that. And honestly, I think Waddle complements that offense in more ways than a lot of people think. I mean, you guys had your one obviously with Sutton, but I mean, it was Sutton, the guy that was going to cross over the middle of the field, run the greatest routes in the world, take the top off the defense. Probably not. No, he was a big play guy. Go make a big catch. Great with contested catches. Great in the red zone. But him with Waddle, it's going to be, I think, a great tandem. And I'm not saying Broncos are going to absolutely win the Super Bowl. I mean, because you got a reloaded AFC West as well. But the Broncos are looking like a very, very promising, especially when they were on the doorsteps of the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And yeah, Jalen Waddle, like you mentioned, I think is just a very different type of receiver and one that we've been really looking for over the last couple of years. Because, like you said, we have Cortland Sutton, he's great as a deep threat receiver, but more so, like you mentioned, to make that big explosive catch, to make that one-on-one contested catch. So he's not going to necessarily beat someone down the field, but he's going to go up for the ball and catch it over them.
mm-hmm.
Versus Jalen Waddle is going to be the type of guy, like you said, he's going to be able to run down and across the field, and Bo Nix has that cannon. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a lot of production with, not necessarily a lot of production, but we did see him make a lot of big throws with players like Marvin Mims down the field. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of the thing that we're definitely looking for to get from Jalen Waddle here. So
Yeah.
that's definitely going to be really, really exciting to watch. So yeah,
Plus, you got
hoping for a good start
hopefully
next year.
the year two leap with Pat Bryant, maybe two. I know he
Oh yeah,
should be healthy,
and
right?
yeah, and especially in that game against New England, he got injured early,
Mm-hmm.
but he started off getting like what 3 or 4 catches
Oh
for a
yeah.
solid 50 yards. He was off to a great start in that first quarter before getting a concussion. And so, yeah, it's definitely going to be great to see him step up as well.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that we haven't mentioned as well, like you said, the AFC West and kind of everywhere is getting reloaded. But the AFC West, obviously, now they're going to have what they hope to be their next big star QB. And so if it pans out for them, obviously, we have to compete with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and now Mendoza, who also
Oh yeah.
has Ashton Genty complimenting him in the backfield. And also,
Not to
one thing,
mention the tight end,
yeah, and of course,
Brock Powers.
Brock Bowers is unbelievably good. And so obviously there's a lot of talent there. And then the Chiefs, who obviously struggled last year, they still went out this year and they traded up a lot. Got a couple. They traded up into the first round, I believe it was.
They
Um,
traded. I know they traded away their. I want to say it was the first round pick for the. No, they traded away their cornerback to the Rams. I forget his name.
yeah, that's
It's
right.
not. Is it Snead? No, Snead's on the Titans.
No, was it McDuffie? Did they trade McDuffie?
McDuffie, yeah. But then they traded up. I want to say to the sixth pick, and just got another
Yeah,
corner from the
drafted a new
LSU.
corner.
So I
Yeah,
mean, you can never really count out the Chiefs. I know everyone in Denver hates the Chiefs, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he's
yeah,
already a Hall of Famer, and he's going to be hungry no matter what. I don't want to see them lay an egg. Truthfully, I want those crazy
no,
matchups. I want to
definitely.
see
But
Mile High rocking when we play them every single time. But I mean, I can't sit here and say the Chargers aren't going to be looking great. I think Mike McDaniel was a great hire, and
fantastic,
I
fantastic.
feel like some of the guys that they had also just didn't pan out last year. They got extremely hurt. Like everyone in the O line was hurt. You had receivers getting hurt. I mean, Quinn Johnson still doesn't know how to catch a ball, and I feel like they addressed that need as well in the second round. You have Trey Harris as well. That's going to be progressing. I think the Chargers could be really good, but
Yeah.
shout out Matt. But
Yeah, I definitely
yeah,
think I agree there. I think the Chargers have a lot of potential. I'm big on Mike McDaniel. I think the problem with him as head coach is just as a player, I think that there were a lot of players that couldn't look at him and see him as a leader. I think he was
yeah,
just too, I don't want to say unprofessional, but he was just a really goofy guy in that it's really hard to follow a guy like that into
mm,
like things like football games as a head coach. And so obviously when things started falling apart, they fell apart on him fast. But I still think that McDaniel is a brilliant guy,
mm,
and he is going to elevate that Chargers offense 100%. He knows what he's doing with that offense. And as for the Chiefs, I don't think they're going to be laying a goose egg. Honestly, I think they're going
mm,
to. I think them trading up into the draft and everything is a sign that they're still going to be trying. Because I mean, I think one thing that people don't consider with them trading away a guy like Trent McDuffie and going for a first round draft corner pick is that it does cost them a decent amount, obviously, to go that high at 6. But they were going to have to pay Trent McDuffie a lot anyway, and right now
mm,
he's one of the premier elite corners in the league right now. And so they did get a little bit of a price tag shaved off on that, and they have a young player with obviously plenty of potential. And so I
yeah.
think that they're definitely showing signs of life and wanting to make a lot of moves so that they can kind of rebuild their offense and be back to where they used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Chiefs. I mean, they signed also Kenneth Walker. I think that's extremely not like talked about as well in this offseason as much as it should. I mean, when was the last time the Chiefs ever had a dominant running back? I mean, you could say Kareem Hunt was the last time, honestly. Maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his only good season. But having that like rock in the backfield so Mahomes doesn't have to drop back every single time, they could actually threat like the play action game and Mahomes can let it loose. I mean, I don't know who he's going to throw to, considering his receivers are, Rasheed Rice and,
Yeah.
you know, the
I mean,
trifecta of bums. But yeah,
I think the K9 move was really interesting.
he
I don't
was.
want to say it was a bad move because I obviously don't think it was a bad move, but I just think it was really strange because when you look at the successful running backs that have been in this Chiefs offense, in what I think when I see success is obviously Kareem Hunt from his rookie year to even now, and then a little bit of maybe Isaiah Pacheco. I don't think I honestly saw much success with um, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. the thing with those running backs is they're the guys that like to get downfield, or not downfield, down the middle, and just kind
Mm-hmm.
of hit your defensive line as hard as they can, and just get yards out of that rather than juke side to side. And
And
then
Kenneth
Kareem
is,
Hunt just rocks people when he's in the backfield.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
those guys that K9 is a really like side to side kind of a guy to me. And I think that the only similarity I see between him and kind of the previous backs is his ability to kind of slip out from a play action handoff into a dump off. I think he was really successful with the Seahawks, obviously, a lot on that. And so I think that's what maybe they're going to try to use a lot. But it was really interesting to me kind of to see them go for a side to side guy this time rather than someone who's a smash mouth football player like the last couple backs they've had.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like you're saying, like the elusiveness part of him is definitely not like their common, like, I guess, archetype for running backs. That's to be definitely just like a new intricacy that Andy Reid's going to be playing with, and that dude's an absolute mastermind with the playbook. So, I mean, they took
Yeah, it'll
obviously a
be
big
interesting
step
to see.
back last year with their record. I mean, they went to what, was it 3 Super Bowls in a row? No, yes.
They went to three, yeah.
I mean, obviously, like a big downside when he tore his ACL. You gotta hope, you gotta think he's gonna be back for game one, maybe not the start of it, and you'll have Justin Fields back there. But I mean, as much as we hate to see it, I don't mind when the Chiefs are a good team personally, but Broncos fans though probably differ on that one.
No,
But
I
I
agree.
mean, good teams being in the same division, you might have four in the next 2 years. I mean, you might see obviously the Chiefs start to come down just with age with all their players, especially Mahomes is already, I want to say 31, and Herbert can't win a playoff game. So I mean, it's the Broncos divisions right now, obviously, and everyone's coming back, and I bet the Chiefs are hungry, and I know they are, so I'm expecting some things from them. But did you like any other picks from other teams in the NFL or no?
Um, I think that one of the more interesting teams to me this year was. mm, I don't know. I honestly didn't follow the draft that much this year, if I'm being honest. But
It's kind of hard
let's
when your
see.
team is outside of the first round,
Yeah,
outside even the second
actually,
round. It's harder, I will say.
the Cardinals definitely were an interesting one to me.
That
I think
was
them picking Jeremiah Love at three was really, really interesting.
very,
Um,
very.
I mean, I didn't think it was their biggest need to fill. But I thought it was a good pick for them to get later on get Carson Beck. I think that you get a lot of experience in Carson Beck,
Mm-hmm.
and you just got rid of Kyler Murray, so obviously you're kind of scrambling in your QB situation anyway. I mean, you have Jacoby Brissett as a worst case scenario fallback. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to see. They have some really big offensive weapons. We'll see if they can do something with them.
I
That
mean,
was
the
definitely one
talent
of the more interesting
is
ones.
there from like a skill position standpoint with the Cardinals. The question is like, is their defense good enough to hold up in the AFC West? Probably not, to be honest. But the offense, I mean, the question is like, why do you take a running back in a loaded running back room? Like, why sign Algier? Why don't you cut James Conner? I mean, it's always valuable to have depth at the running back position because you're in a brute force game. You're going to get injuries, as we saw with James Conner last year, especially with his age. But you get basically a lifelong backup in Algier, and then just bend him over with the third overall pick, and you also make him the highest paid running back of all time on the very first round pick that you have. So from I mean, as a person that has the first overall pick in Dynasty for fantasy football, who needs a running back, I'm a little upset with this. Just considering, like, if he went to the Titans, great pick. Honestly, if the Chiefs didn't pick up Kenneth Walker, if he somehow fell to the Chiefs and they went up and got him, I'd be a happy, happy man. But I mean, you still got to check Jeremiah Love. That dude's a stud. He will be the starter for years to come. Algier probably has a contract that's cuttable, and he was with Bijan. He can't be a backup to, but they're also a very similar style runner. So almost just like, so who's going to get the goal line carries really at the end? Is it going to be Connor, Algier, or Love? You got to think it's Love, just because you're not going to waste a first overall pick and put him at the bottom of your bench. So I don't know.
You're not gonna spend all that money just to put him on the bench.
No,
That makes sense.
I'm truly hoping, for a decent season from Love in his rookie year as a from a fantasy standpoint. But I mean, I can't expect him to be, RB5 or RB10. You're probably looking like RB15, RB20. So unfortunate, but when you're standing the barrel down at what you can pick 1-1, and you're really only going to go one of two ways. It's either him or Carnell Tate, maybe Jordan Tyson, and that's about it. But it's a guy that has Malik Neighbors and other, assets at wide receiver. You have to take Love, unfortunately, but it shouldn't be that unfortunate. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think another interesting one this year was the Giants made a lot of big moves in the draft. I think that are going to improve their team. Obviously, they got a lineman in the first round. But one of the interesting things to me was their 5th overall pick being an edge.
Made no sense.
They already have so many threats on that D line. It was, they obviously lost DeMarcus Lawrence, so I don't know if maybe they plan on shifting somebody down to D tackle.
Dexter Lawrence, by the way.
What did I call him?
DeMarcus.
Did I say DeMarcus?
Yeah.
I meant Dexter.
I mean, you're 100% right. Like, what are we doing, Giants? I mean, I saw they were kind of trying to trade Thibodeau to the Saints, and they wanted a 2nd-round pick for him. Like, are you high? Right. No one's paying that. I mean, I didn't like. I mean, I will say Arvell Reese, the talent to be at the 5th overall pick was absurd. That's almost like, hey, you take the best player available. That's what it kind of felt like. And I kind of like that, I will say that. But when you go into just the line, instead of getting maybe the safety, the game-changing safety, because you haven't really had that safety since Xavier McKinney left, I thought, you saw it immediately from Malik Neighbors. He was like, why did he get to go to the Cowboys? Now I have to face this dude. What'd you think of Malik Neighbors and his thoughts on the whole wide receiver stuff, like on Carnell Tate?
I actually didn't see what was his take on Carnell Tate.
He was basically saying like, hey, Carnell Tate's never been a wide receiver 1. And you got to think like, no shit. Of course he's not a wide receiver 1. He has Jeremiah Smith on his team.
Right. Yeah. I think that's kind of an absurd take. But I also think it is fair to take that into account. Obviously, whenever facing teams now, because you have Jeremiah Smith on the other side, you don't have to face their best corner and you don't draw all the attention. Mm-hmm. And so I think that obviously does give you a lot of leeway. And so I can see why he might have brought that up. But I do think it's still unfair to judge him based on that.
Yeah, and I also, from a... what should we call it? I don't even know. From Carnell Tate's standpoint as well. And I think teams just need to figure this out. I don't know how they haven't. Death taxes in an Ohio State wide receiver. Yeah. They haven't really missed. I think we're still waiting for that. Marvin Harrison Jr. breakout, but it's coming. He's on just quite possibly the worst team of all time. That's his only problem. Chris Olave. JSN really broke out this year. You have tons of names from this school. So I think Carnell Tate's going to be just fine on the Titans. I think pairing him with Cam Ward, pairing him with Brian Dable, I think he's also kind of like one of those OCs that just shouldn't have been a head coach. I think is going to be really good for him. So, watch out for the Titans. You never know. The AFC South is kind of wide open every year, just kind of like the NFC South is. So you never know. You could see like a possible Patriots type season. Not saying that big, like 14 wins or 13 wins. I don't know how many they got, but I'm saying they could get there.
Yeah, I could definitely see them flip the script, and they still have I think one of their biggest biggest plus is just having the veteran presence of Jeffrey Simmons down low. I
Mm-hmm.
think he just has such a big impact on honestly both sides of the game because you could see him hyping up the team constantly, and so I think he's just a really really big presence for them to have. And as long as Cam Ward can get his team going the right direction and kind of step into that leadership role, I think giving him that big
Mm-hmm.
young receiver is a really really big plus.
Yeah, that and the fact that you have Robert Saleh as your head coach, defensive wizard. I think he's going to be really good for that Titans team. I mean, I think you kind of saw it in Saleh's first year with the Jets. They had a good defense. They were positioned to make some noise. Obviously, Rodgers' injury really derailed that season, but that defense was electric from the get go. And I think Saleh also is just like a player, coach's dream. Sorry, player's dream for a coach. He's super fiery. He'll get the team ready to go, and I'm excited for what the Titans can like put out this year. But honestly, what I'm really excited to watch for this season is our boy Shador Sanders.
It'll definitely be a lot of fun to watch Shadur Sanders. I hope he can definitely have some production this year. You know, he had a lot of shining moments in his rookie year. It wasn't a perfect rookie year, but it definitely was a lot of fun
Obviously,
to watch at times.
yeah. I mean Shador. I mean, I don't know what the Browns are really doing. At the end of the day, you make the weird head coaching hire, the guy that probably wanted Shador in Baltimore. He even said it. But then you draft another quarterback, and you have another great offseason of questions about your quarterbacks and how you have four quarterbacks paying for Deshaun Watson. He'll be fully healthy going into next season. You got the dumbass lefty in Dylan Gabriel. Just cut him. I think he's an easy cut candidate. And then you got Talon, I want to say Talon Green. I want to say his name is from Arkansas. Dude looks like a Lamar Jackson cutout. He's extremely athletic. Wouldn't be surprised if they put him somehow at wide receiver and try to bone him over as a quarterback. But I mean, it kind of makes you wonder what the Browns are doing just in general, because I didn't really see an incredible amount of energy to surround the quarterback with weapons. I think they drafted a wide receiver in the second round, but I mean, we saw what Shador can do with weapons around him at CU, even with not the greatest O line. He can. I think he could do some great things, but we'll just have to see. But what do you think?
I think that they I think that they still have a lot. I mean, it's the Browns. They'll always have a lot to work on. It just feels like they're constantly blowing it up, honestly. I don't know if they're ever going to commit, but I'm hoping that they're kind of getting together a team that maybe they're going to commit to here. Obviously, it doesn't feel like it. Like you said, they have all these different quarterbacks. They don't even know who they want to throw in there. So I'm just hoping that they can figure it out here, at least before the season starts, cut it down to maybe two quarterbacks that are legitimate candidates. One of the guys is a practice squad player. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think, obviously, the Browns being the Browns will always kind of be in disarray until someone somehow manages to fix that miracle. But I think that it's not necessarily the weapons they're missing. It's just putting it all together and making it work.
And let me just rewalk some of my comments I made about that draft class. They did actually address some needs around Shador. I mean, this
They did
offseason
get a lineman in pick 9.
they picked up Elton Jenkins after he got released from the Packers, and then from personal watching of Green Bay, big fan of Green Bay also. But Elton's a great pick, and putting him at left guard is going to be great for Shador. And then you get the offensive tackle, the ninth overall. I mean, they're right there. You're already protecting Shador a little bit more. And then your next two picks was a KC Concepcion from A&M, stud.
This guy in the draft. Yeah.
Denzel Boston from Washington. Haven't really seen him, but I mean, you're surrounding Shador with some talent, and then you go after and get a tight end. Pair him with Harold Fanning, because I believe Njoku's gone, right? I want to say he's gone for next season.
I think he's still a free agent. No one's claimed
Yeah.
him yet. I might be
Hey,
wrong.
Green Bay, go after him. Kind of need someone to go opposite of Tucker Kraft, especially with him being out for the potential start of the season. I mean,
Free agent.
I'm excited for what the Browns could do with Shador if he does start. If they don't start Shador, I think you're just taking 10 steps backwards. I mean, I think the Deshaun Watson train has left the station. There's really no going back to him.
I don't think
But
there's any point in going back to him. I think that his time passed. Even in the games that we've seen him back since his whole debacle, he wasn't
Hmm.
Deshaun Watson, not the same Deshaun Watson
No.
that we saw. I'll always remember his playoff games that he had. That's the Deshaun Watson that I would expect to see on the field, and he was nowhere near what he used to be. So I
Yeah.
just don't think it's worth going back to him, knowing you're not going to get near the same level of production.
Yeah. I'm like honestly, like we could like switch topics a little bit, but like, what did you see any of the NFC North picks?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's because they were like the most interesting picks I've ever seen. Green Bay didn't have a first round pick, obviously, because of Micah Parsons. I think the
Caleb Downs was a
Bears.
pretty good pick. I did see Caleb
Well,
Downs.
that was the Cowboys pick.
Oh yeah,
I think that. You had all those like worries about his health and everything, but I think that dude's a stud. I mean, you got to think that him going to the Cowboys is probably going to haunt someone in the NFC East. But the Packers, I will say, they addressed some needs. Our biggest, like, I would say, question going into this offseason is what's going to get you over the 7 seed hump. It seems like the Packers are in the 7 seed almost every year. And, big problem is we haven't had that shutdown corner ever since Jair's kind of been hurt and retiring. Obviously, that's what they did. Their second round pick. They went out, got the guy from South Carolina, Brandon Cisse, and then you shore up that middle of the run game with the D tackle from Missouri. So I'm extremely excited for that side of the ball, but I'm also really concerned with what the hell we're doing with all this cap space because I feel like all these contract extensions are coming. I just don't know who's going to get it. I saw we extended Jaden Reed over the weekend, which I'm excited for, but I hope we don't overpay for Christian Watson. Please give Tucker Kraft whatever he wants. Devontae Wyatt, D
yeah,
tackle, need him. The Packers were extremely hurt at the end of the season, unfortunately, and I feel like that's why they lost in the end. But Packers have been packering for the last 10 years and starting to get really old.
yeah.
But yeah, at least we got a kicker in the 6th round. That's been one of our issues since Mason Crosby. Shout out CU legend right there. But yeah, let's wrap up the NFL talk and switch a little bit into the Avs. As we know, the Avs swept the Kings 4-0 over the weekend. And, I heard this guy talk about it. He's just like, the Avs might not lose more than one game until the Stanley Cup finals. Don't know if that's true. Don't know if it's not. The Avs, the biggest problem is you got to get past the Dallas Stars if they come to town. Stars, for whatever reason, have our number the past few years. We look good against them in the regular season, but everyone knows that in the playoffs it's an entirely different beast. But I'm hoping to see some positive things out of the Avs come next series. One thing is we're going to have all this rest. We're not going to be buzzing as much. So hopefully the Avs can come out and protect home court advantage, whether it's the Stars or the Wild. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of one thing in sports with me that I feel like is kind of an underrated kind of thing that hurts a lot of teams is if you do get that sweep is all that time that you spend waiting for the next series to start, especially if the other series is a series like this one that's kind of neck and neck and they're just trading games off back and forth because you don't keep that same energy up that you've kind of been going through and having. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I think that's one of the things that might be kind of a big negative going into this series, and I hope it doesn't affect us too badly. But obviously, we have the momentum of a 4-0 win, but we lose the energy because of that 4-0 win. So there's a good side and a bad side, I think, and that's kind of something that you see in all sports, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. The thing with the Avs, and I kind of saw the takeaway from like them beating the Kings. Kings were an extremely defensive team, played a lot of close games, went to a lot of overtime games. They were playing dirty. That's how you got to beat the Avs. You got to play a little dirty because they're just simply better than you at every single line. It feels like they are very talented. They're almost all in or bust for this team, which I'm excited about because I want a parade. I want a parade in Denver. It'll be awesome. We haven't had one since 2022, 2023. Which one was it? 2023, right? That was the Nuggets, yeah. And just that feeling of those parades was a great for Denver, and we're hungry, even though might sound like we take it for granted, but we want it and we want it bad. And it feels like all of our teams are trending in the right direction, even if the Rockies are 4 games below 500. You know, yeah. So hopefully the Avs can start hot and stay hot.
Yeah,
Um,
Denver certainly feels like the city of champions right now. So it'd be nice to see kind of all the different Colorado teams kind of go far, especially with the two teams that we have in the playoffs at the moment. So
yeah,
a lot of exciting stuff for us to see right now.
yeah, and that kind of like leads us into our last like kind of like segment of the day for tonight. And that is our beautiful parlay, guys. Um,
Parlay of the day.
yeah, let me pull up our parlay, guys. Give me one moment because
There it is.
alrighty. So here's our same game parlay for the Nuggets Timberwolves game Thursday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Talk me through our first pick of the night, Pat.
Oh, yeah, I think Jamal Murray 25 points is a pretty safe bet, especially given his performance. He kind of throughout the series, obviously there's I think been 2 games where he didn't hit it. One of those was 24 points, so just a point under. But he's averaging around 31 points against Minnesota, and so I think 25 is definitely a good line to add into this parlay for today. Why don't you take the next one?
Yeah, Jokic 20 rebounds plus assists. I mean, Jokic, it feels like this dude is stealing every board on the court. It feels like the past few games. Not to mention he almost averages a triple double. This is our one leg that's probably the most sweat free, but it'll probably be the one that we sweat the hardest, unfortunately. But honestly, I don't see Jokic not getting this. Especially with Aaron Gordon potentially being out, even if he's in, he's going to be on limited minutes and he's probably going to crack in half in the first half. But I mean, Jokic is going to get this line usually at a high rate. But talking about Julius Randle,
Yep.
25.
And I think this one's a pretty easy one, honestly. We've seen Julius Randle haul down rebound after rebound over the last couple games. A lot of like 7 twice, 9 once. And then obviously the points, given that he doesn't have Anthony Edwards or Dante DiVincenzo to help him with a lot of the scoring. He's going to have to be a big scorer in this game, as he showed this past game 5. And so I think he's going to be able to pick on our defense down low and score a lot of those easy buckets like he has been and get a lot of boards to pair for 25.
Yeah.
Take the last one for us.
Yeah, so we got Jaden McFucking Donalds over here, fucking clown of the series in Denver's eyes. But this dude, I mean, he plays with a lot of electricity, gets in people's faces, and he's been doing this in 3 out of the 4 games that he's played in over 33 minutes. I don't see him not playing more than that unless the Nuggets blow them out. And Nuggets they haven't blown them out all series. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a tight one in their house. And I think this dude's going to smash his line with maybe just the rebounds alone. So, and I love this line considering he's hit it 3 out of the 4 in those minutes, non-restricted games. So, you put that little 25% boost, you get up to plus 470, 4 legs. Not sweat-free, but certainly something that we could definitely strive for. And, yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from this. Hopefully we turn into a green slip and go 1-0 on our first altitude problems parlay of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And one thing I kind of want to introduce into this show just at the end is our fun fact for altitude problems. This is only for Denver, ball knowers, but who was the team to get scored on when Cargo hit his walk-off cycle?
Ooh. Let me try to think of this one. I can see it so clearly, but I can't see the other team. I could see the home run happening in my head. I can't see the other team's jerseys. I want to say
It's a National League team. Fun fact. Also, another like little additional. What did Drew Goodman call him when he rounded the bases?
Was that the little pony? Did he call him the
Fuck
little
yeah, it's the
pony?
little pony.
Yeah, I knew that one. I don't know the team. What's the team?
The Chicago Cubs.
Oh, you know what's funny? I was gonna say the Chicago White Sox, so I would have been
Oh yeah,
close.
yep. But that is our little fun fact for Denver fans. And that kind of wraps up our show tonight. Anything else you want to comment on, PB?
No, that should be it. Thank you guys for joining us. Obviously, no one really joined us, but hopefully we get some clips out there and people can kind of start joining our podcast for the future.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, just concluding up our episode 1, we'll be back next week, posting hopefully regularly on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But I appreciate anyone that's tuning in. We're just getting started. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.